Yeah. Lucian Bute. They've been that busy over the last couple of years, so whereas James has, for me the fight's set up for Degale, even though Bute comes with great pedigree. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think James is a big favourite going into the fight. I think the spice, the edge, is that it's in Quebec, to be honest with you. And I think this is a much more interesting fight in Quebec City than it is in London. And that's what gives it the credibility. I think it's smart from James. I think he can go over there, he can look sensational. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. Bute's big, strong, determined. Sometimes in your career, when you have to pull a performance out, you find it. Carl Froch, don't forget, when he boxed Lucian Bute, if he would have lost that night, his career was over. If Lucian Bute loses on November 28th, his career is over. So, if you've got something left in the tank, it's a very dangerous fight. If he hasn't, which he might not, could be an easier fight.
So could James be nicking some of that fan base by the time he comes back to the UK then?
In Canada? Yeah. There's always the great debate, isn't there, about pay-per-view and to pay James Degale what he needs to be paid, he needs to box on pay-per-view, right? And with what's going on this winter, which is a complete pay-per-view logjam, namely with Klitschko Fury already booked in, it's not really possible. So the fact is, he's made a smart decision to go and get very well paid in America for a fight he should win. Then we can look at something perhaps back here next spring, summer. But it's boxing as a business is in a very interesting time where the purses are so inflated right now that it is a problem. But it's not the fighter's problem, it's our problem. And we have to find a solution. And this is a model that works very well to give James Degale the best results financially.
I can imagine you being of Matchroom and Al Haymon being of Haymon Sport. It must have been interesting negotiating this latest deal, this latest contract. Did you really want to relinquish, the percentage that you did in the end? I don't know what it was, but
not the percentage, just the
role.
control. Yeah, the role. I mean, boxing's. I'm not saying I haven't got an ego, right? And you know me, I'm a shy guy, right? But what I will say is, I'm not really. Like, if you're a fighter and you come to me and you say, to be honest with you, I don't really like you anymore, and I've had this offer, and I want to take it, and I don't want to be with you. It's like having a football club. You've got a bloke out there on the pitch who doesn't want to be there. There's no point having him. It's a terrible relationship, and you're not going to get the best out of him. So if fighters aren't happy, they can go. Now here we had a situation where I got a very tight relationship with James Degale, and he didn't. There's no reason to leave Matchroom. We've got a great relationship, but an opportunity come up around. Same with Lee Selby, where he could make a lot of money with a similar model to what he's got at the moment by boxing abroad, but with the UK covered with us and Sky. Sometimes it just makes sense. And people say to me, I've had people tweet, wow, Eddie Hearn was on the top table. I thought that he was, no. It's just, if it's right for the fighter and it makes sense for us from a business perspective, we'll do it. I have less control. Financially, it doesn't really change for me. But James Degale's very happy. So you get longevity out of a relationship. If I turn to Degale and went, you're not doing that, I'm stopping him from earning money. So no one's going to be happy, are they? If
just makes sense.
Yeah.
And it looks on paper to me. It looks like it makes sense to run. I can understand why.
I don't know what's going to happen. We know for the next 3 fights, we're together. After that, who knows? I might get binned off. You know what I mean?
Well, you never know. You'd love to bring him back here.
I do have a 6-year deal exclusive with Sky Sports across pay-per-view.
This is why you're
so I'm in a decent position.
Power, Eddie. We know
just
about
thought I'd
the
remind you about that, James Degale, just in case you're watching. So.
He'll be watching. Yeah. Would you like to bring him back here?
Sure. He was down on the pitch. And again, probably if I had it my way, I would have brought him back to London for the first one. But I can understand the model, and I'm fine with it. But when he's down there, and I'm saying to him, we'll feel this easy for the right fight. Do you think so? That's what you live for, really, as a fighter. But James is like, I said in the press conference, he's a buzz character. So when he walks out in front of 12,000 in Quebec and they're booing him, he'll love that. Do you know what I mean? That will make him perform better. And I think it will make him perform better than 12,000 loves. rather than 12,000 hate, you know, because he's that kind of character.
Looking at the division, I've asked everyone this question today. Where's the problem? Because I don't see one. I mean, take Andre Ward out of the equation. I don't really see it. I don't really see an issue. I don't really see anybody.
Tough fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Andre Durrell against James Degale was a close fight, you know, and that's still a tough rematch, which he may end up taking. You know, I mean, Durrell's with Haymon. He'll be screaming for the rematch. Badu Jack, I think, is a little bit underrated as a fighter. You know, I don't think he's the greatest champion there's ever been. No one said anything about exciting, but in terms of being able to beat, I think Arthur Abraham is underrated. You know, I mean, I think Murray's got a great chance. I think styles make fights, and if you're a strong pressure fighter, but you're technically good, that's probably the hardest style for James Degale, right? If you're a boxer, he can outbox you. If you're a plodder, he'll make you look stupid. But if you can plod and fight and keep coming, that's probably the toughest for a lot of people. And by the way, and I know this is completely off the track, but this is why Diego Chavez is such a tough fight for Kell Brook. Yeah, he's not a plodder. He can box on the inside and on the outside. He can punch. He's got an unbelievable engine, right? That's the kind of style that's tough for a boxer. Yeah, and you know, you've seen it over the years. So when you look at the division, Arthur Abraham, James should stand him on his head. Carl Froch did, and they fought. Badu Jack, different kind of fight, but you'd fancy James Degale. Andre Ward is a good fight, really good fight. By the way, I fancy James Degale to beat Andre Ward, personally. I think he's been too inactive. You know, then you look at the domestic side, and you look at the likes of George Groves. You'd have to fancy Degale as a big favourite right now. Callum Smith against Rocky Fielding could be those kind of guys, could be interesting next year. Martin Murray, if he beats Abraham, would be a very tough fight for Degale because he's shown what he's got at 168 pounds to beat Abraham. Chris Eubank Jr. moving up to super middleweight eventually. I mean, you imagine Chris Eubank Jr. against James Degale. But not just that, inside and outside the ring. I mean, this is what you guys like as well. Everyone likes a great fight, but it's got to be a great story, and there's got to be personalities. It's like the Eubanks. You know, I did a day with them at Sky. I felt like I aged 15 years, but everybody wanted to talk to them, and when they were on screen, all you could hear in the ear of the producer was the director going, "Keep going, keep them going, keep them going." It's gold, isn't it? You know. So, and you know, you've got, as a fighter, you've got to be different. You can't just be beige. And by beige, I mean no one's got an opinion on you. He's a nice bloke. You know, no. You can be a beep, you can be a great guy, but you've got to have an opinion. If I said to you, tell me about Tyson Fury, you go, where do I start? If I said to you, Chris Eubank, you go, oh my God, have you seen him? But then I say to you, tell me about, I won't say because it's, I have order on them. They're not our fighters, but you know, you just go, he's all right, isn't he? That's not selling. You know, I don't think people have got to be false or fake, but you've just got to bring your personality out, and that's one of the jobs as a promoter, to bring that personality out and give people access to that personality, and that's what we've done with James Degale, because he's gone from being a little bit disliked to no one really he's a good guy. Do you know what I mean? Funny guy. And if you're around him and you show people that, they'll like him.
KO or points?
Stoppage.
Round?
6, between 6 and 8.
Thanks for your time, Eddie, as always.
Cheers, mate.